This is a show where I sit down with business owners, industry specialists and leaders I genuinely respect to talk about what they're actually doing with AI and automation in their day-to-day work. Not the hype, not the LinkedIn takes, just the real stuff. Today I'm joined by Bek Drayton, who's the founder and managing director of BeKonstructive Marketing, a Brisbane-based marketing consultancy that works with SMEs and business owners to build practical, no-nonsense marketing strategy. The kind that actually is connected to business outcomes, not activity for the sake of activity. She works directly with the founders and directors, which means she's operating at the sharp end of the commercial conversation, not just a creative one. Bek, welcome to the show. Really glad you could join me.
Thanks for having me.
Was that relatively accurate?
It's pretty accurate, yeah.
I have a script writing agent that goes off and stalks people for me. So I'm always curious to get feedback as to how accurate it is.
Yeah, well, if you could introduce me for every corporate engagement I have from now on, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
I can arrange that. Yeah, nominal fee. That'll be fine. So we'll start at the beginning because the backstory is always really interesting. How did you get to where you are now running BeKonstructive? What are the key moments, the pivots that you've had?
I started BeKonstructive 13 years ago after being made redundant twice in the space of 12 months.
Wow.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I moved back in with my mum. I went back to uni to do my master's, and while I was doing that, started a little bit of freelance work on the side. By the time I finished my master's, I had essentially a full-time job working for myself, and so I kind of just kept going with that. After a few years, kind of got to a crossroads where I had to decide whether I was just going to be a consultant freelance or whether I was going to actually build the thing. So I chose the harder path to build the thing. And yeah, we've been in the industry now for 13 years, going strong. Got a team in the office.
Yeah, that is a long time. And I guess, has it always been BeKonstructive? I'm assuming that it has something to do with your name?
Yes, it's always been BeKonstructive. It comes from, so one of the roles I got made redundant from was a big creative agency, and they had a big sales team that would go out and sell absolutely anything to anyone. And I was the production team at the back end, having to then try and, work with a lot of mum and dad businesses who had been oversold, a $20,000 website so that the salesperson could get the commission on that, and me trying to figure out how we were going to make this website work for them when they had no budget left over to actually market it and do SEO or ads or that kind of stuff. So BeKonstructive was kind of when I started my own business. It was always about, I don't want to be, spending people's marketing money for the sake of spending their marketing money. I wanted everything that we did to be constructive, and could we build a $5,000 website and then have a $15,000 marketing budget, like that kind of conversation. It was always about everything we do is constructive, everything that we do moves the needle, and we're not doing anything just to make a buck.
Yeah, classic sales. Handballing the oddballs to the actual delivery. It's an interesting tact to try and, I guess, be working. I'm guessing it's mostly SME. Like you prefer not to work with marketing teams. You prefer to have a bit of a say and drive the strategy. Is that correct, or is there?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. We do work with a lot of marketing teams, especially when you get into the bigger businesses that have an in-house marketing person, but they can't look after everything themselves. And we do a lot of partnerships with a lot of other agencies as well. So it's a bit of both.
Well, that would keep it interesting, I guess. It'd be also good to have. It's difficult to manage the contracts if every client has a different level, but I suppose for the ones that you're dealing direct engagement, it's always going to be the same set of services to an extent.
Yeah.
Which will keep things simple.
Yeah, we're managed services, so it is really just do you need social media, do you need content writing, do you need SEO? Tick the boxes, and then we build the contract out from there.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. In the way that you work, we'll move on to question 2. Have you been playing with anything of late that seems to be helping? It's in your industry, it's something that really has been shaken, I guess. And there's a lot of fear, probably more fear than there is actual risk right now, but there's certainly risk and there's certainly impacts that have happened. So first, I guess, what is your take on what's happening at the moment? And also, what are you, if you're willing to share, what are you doing at the moment that's helping?
Yeah, so we're in the space, the industry that was supposed to be kind of completely replaced by AI, especially 12 months ago when we were predominantly doing content marketing and social media. They were our bread and butter services. Those were the bits that were going to be absolutely replaced by AI. We're still here, we're still delivering those services. So I think we've just had to really learn how to partner with AI for content. We've had to really accept that, our clients are going to create some of their stuff with AI and send it through to us, and where there is that kind of human checkpoint to clean it up, to fact check it, to do that polished piece, and then to get it live. So I guess that's kind of how it's changed for us. We're not creating as much content from scratch anymore. We're getting sent the clients, I guess, their attempt with AI, and we're polishing that and making it ready for market.
Yeah, I guess that would be a bit of a shift, because previously people wouldn't even have had a crack. You had the entire thing from scratch, which I guess is a bit easier in one way, but does it lead to difficult conversations with customers if they're, has anyone tried to reduce their contract, or they're saying that we can do a bit of this ourselves, or is everyone, your clients stick around for a long time, so there's a lot of trust there already?
Yeah. In most cases, we've been able to work with them to kind of flip it a little bit. So our preference is actually if we can be the ones that use the AI rather than them. So what we do is we use a really cool tool called Otter AI to interview our clients, that does all of the transcripting for us, and then we can take the transcript of those interviews and put them into an AI tool to help us cut it up into social media product posts, and that becomes that 80% still needs polished product, as opposed to the client just going off and doing that piece themselves. Because our team, we're marketers, so we have the knowledge around what the hook is, what the selling point is, what the marketing question is. And our team that interview our clients also come from a number of different backgrounds, but a lot of journalism backgrounds as well. So they know how to interview to fill the gap, to find the content, to find the gold that nobody else is talking about, extract that from the client and turn that into content. So we were finding that if they skipped that step, what they sent us was quite generic, and it was a little bit bland at times, and then we were trying to polish that into something. So we've actually worked with most of our clients to say, okay, we'll still use AI, we'll still reduce the amount of time this takes by leaning into AI, but we're going to be the ones that manage that, so that you still get that marketing perspective, you still get the expertise that comes from that. I was having a really good conversation with somebody the other day actually, and we were talking about how the human aspect that comes into AI is the wisdom, it's the experience, and that's what turns a prompt into something meaningful, right? And so when we do the prompt, we're coming at it from that marketing perspective, where we're creating something that's to take to market with a marketing message, that often when the client does it, they're in their head about the service and the product and the information, which is great, but they're missing that marketing spin to actually get it online and make people stop and listen.
Yeah, because it's just a word predictor. It will give kind of the average. It'll head down the middle of what you're asking for, and being able to add your professional context to it is going to be great. But that process of having somebody actually interview and go through, because I know there's a lot of things for me personally, like thinking about my business, I can't answer questions that are going to lead to good brand decisions. I'll be talking about stuff and thinking about things, but somebody in your industry can hear that and go, okay, this is the angle, and then you're able to get way better outputs from AI because you understand those things, you understand what's going to sell, and so that is a really cool process. Is that just by coincidence that you ended up with journalists, background people?
It was always a very mindful decision as content marketing and brand communications. We were always in the word side of marketing, and to me it just made sense that if you're going to be in that space, you want some creative writers, you want some more analytical wordsmiths, you want journalistic approaches. It just made sense to me that we would have that full spectrum, as opposed to maybe one marketing person that can write okay.
No, that's a cool approach. That does make sense, because I guess it has been a bit of a recent pivot for you guys to be able to leverage the AI and then probably spend more time on other services that perhaps were in the background before. Do you feel like AI has freed you up to be able to do that, or is it?
It has freed us up to be a lot more strategic and to focus on, we spend less time creating the content and we spend more time optimizing the content for the different algorithms. So, whether that is taking it to social media, knowing, the best kind of ways to optimize that piece of content, what time of day, where to post it, what platforms it's going to work on, where the target audience and different demographics, what social media platforms they're on, what kind of imagery to pair it with, all of that, the strategic side of it, we're spending more time there and actually getting better impact for the content than going back and forth, creating the content, polishing it and making a beautiful piece of content, whereas now we can really focus on those sides of it, and we're focusing a lot more on SEO, AI search visibility, and then visibility in your different social media platforms. So it's really helped us lean into strategy.
And perhaps AI isn't having the disruption in your industry that everybody thought. I know for graphic designers and things, there was a lot of talk when it first was released, when DALL-E first came out, and they're like, it can make images, they're out of a job, immediately. They're still doing work. There's still that, like you said, the top bit, that is the wisdom that is required to do those things. So it hasn't completely disrupted, but the way that everything is approached, it has been a bit of a shift with AI search, because that's a completely new thing in your industry that then has to kind of slot into the portfolio, and you have to know, was it a bit of a learning curve there?
AI search is very, very similar to traditional SEO search. When we kind of look at traditional SEO search, there's over 200 different signals that go into how Google determines where you're going to rank. But those 200 signals can be roughly grouped into 3 different groups. So you've got technical, which is your on-page website build, how healthy it is, whether it's secure, whether it's fast, all of that kind of stuff. You've got your on-page, which is making sure you've got content that's relevant to the search terms on your actual website. And then you've got off-page. So off-page is all of your credibility and authority. It's how other people talk about your brand online. It's things like reviews and whether you're getting mentioned in forums and guest posting and all of that kind of stuff. In traditional SEO, it kind of goes in that order, right? First, you've got to get your technical in check, then you've got to get your on-page, and then once those 2 things are done, you start looking at your off-page credibility and authority. AI search is the same stuff, just flipped in the other order. It goes first to the forums, to the reviews, to the offsite, looks for where your brand is coming up, and then once it finds your brand, it then goes to your website to check that what people are saying about you is what you're also saying about you. And then the site health, technical, fast website stuff, it doesn't really care about that as much. So it's the same stuff we were already doing for our SEO clients. It's just flipped in the other order. So rather than starting with technical site health, fixing your website, we're actually starting in the forums. We're going, okay, how are you getting customer reviews? What platforms on, if you're in travel, then we're looking at TripAdvisor, all those different industry specific review platforms. How are you turning up there? So it's the same, but opposite order.
Yeah, I guess Google kind of set us up in preparation for AI and the way that they approached it. It does make sense, because there's very few ways to kind of do a dodgy workaround to try and, you can pay them money and then get ranking. But the organic method is really what AI is now consuming.
Yeah, well, I mean, for most of our long-term clients that had been doing SEO with us for, a few years, we were already at that final stage of off-site, being in Reddit and whatever other forums were relevant. We'd already gotten to the stage of needing to help them get their Google reviews in check and all of that kind of stuff. So for those clients, they've just always been on AI search. They just have always been there. It wasn't really something we had to actively chase for them. Because if you're doing good SEO and you've been investing in it for long enough, you're already doing everything you need to be able to show up on AI search anyway.
Yeah. Well, thanks. You've given some IP there. That's good knowledge. So I'll move on from the AI because I get stuck here all the time. Last question. What's people outside your world, whether they're clients or business owners, people who've worked with marketing strategists before or haven't, what do they completely misunderstand that you do?
I think they just completely misunderstand SEO in general. I have so many conversations with people that don't know what SEO is, or they think it's something really difficult and complex, but actually SEO is probably, of all the different types of marketing that you can do, SEO is one of the easiest ones to track and report data on and to see the performance of. There's so much tracking and data available, whether it's how you're performing in Google, whether it's how many people are coming to your website, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it is the easiest digital marketing service to check ROI of or to get performance data. But I have so many people kind of have conversations with me around they don't invest in SEO because it's this like mysterious black box and they don't understand it, so they don't want to invest in it. And but then they'll tell me like other things that they're investing in and for their marketing, like radio ads or whatever, and I'm like, how do you know if that's performing? Like, how do you know, I can actually tell you how many people visited your website as a direct correlation to the work we've done. You don't necessarily need to understand the ins and outs. You don't need to know those 200 different signals. That's my job. And it's not as hard as it sounds either. You just need to know if it's having a performance for you, if it's got a result. And SEO's got so much data behind it. It's so easy to track.
Yeah, that is good. And I guess that gives a level of confidence. And also what you're saying about, like, it's not as complex as what people think. I think that equates to, it's not as expensive as you think when it's an unknown black box. You know, you can get good value out of it, especially if you can measure.
Yeah, I think a lot of business owners see SEO as something that is a leap of faith, that you're investing in it and you're hoping it goes well and you don't really know what it is. So they wait until, I guess, they've got big enough and have enough kind of cash flow to be able to take that leap of faith. But yeah, I think personally it should be the other way around. I think it should be the one marketing channel you're investing in from day one, because it's the one marketing channel that you can actually track, and it's not a leap of faith. You just have to set it up properly.
Yeah, right. That's a revelation for me as well. Yeah. That's
awesome.
Good. Thanks, man. Well, I think we're pretty much at time for this. Thanks so much for joining on As Per My Last Prompt. It's been a pleasure. I knew this would be a good one.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. If anyone wants to connect with Bek or learn more about what she's doing at BeKonstructive Marketing, I'll drop all the links in the description for the website, for our LinkedIn, everything you need. And if you enjoyed this episode, please hit subscribe. We're releasing new content every 2 weeks with business leaders and specialists who are navigating AI in this uncertain landscape, trying to talk about real experiences. So thanks for watching. Thanks again, Bek, and I'll see you in the next one.